I am a lifelong karate practitioner, but I took Muay Thai for 1 year. Here is exactly how it changed my game completely.
Perfect.
In about October of last year, I came into this gym, 36 Chambers, Muay Thai and Fitness, and I trained with my now instructor, Josh Brackett. Literally the first time we trained together, we sparred. We went after it. And guess what? Your boy recorded it, cause internet. I also happened to record the sparring from this week. So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna look back at some of that old footage and document some of the key differences between then and now. So here's where our story begins. Being a karate fighter, I always thought that I was good at countering. However, one added variability can change everything. For me, it was leg kicks. As you can see, the threat of the leg kicks are slowing down my counters. Also, chubby surprise. My back leg heavy, front leg kicking style was now hindered because of the constant worry that I could have my greatest asset taken away from me. And while I still landed these shots, I wasn't quite used to the leg kicks enough that I could add power behind it. So I had to change something. Which brings me to present day with Kyle. Now, my question was, how do I get better with counters? And the answer is very two-parted. Part 1, feints. Drawing my opponent in and landing when I want, instead of having to come in and rush, a style that is so naturally rooted. Now, part 2 was addressing the kicks. But funny enough, the answer wasn't always checking them, but a lot of the time it was catching them. As you can see here, it leads to a hook kick, and even better, a side kick. If only side kicks worked. Now, another thing that Muay Thai immediately taught me is one good way to address the leg kicks is to attack the leg kicks. Using this lead leg over and over, I have options for side kicks and even better for, the chubby surprise. But now we're going to take a trip back in time, and we're going to go to me and Bobby. Now, Bobby and I, you will get the before and the after. With Bobby, we're going to talk about this right hand and how I frame it but leave my leg open. Now, at the time, this was actually tactical. I wanted him to attack my front leg so I could throw back. But the way I was doing it wasn't quite the way I needed to. I'm very, very sideways. So a lot of my strikes can only be one at a time. And if I'm going to give up a big strike like a leg kick, I need to have dire consequences that follow it, more than one strike. Also, badly timed spinning rear kick. Don't do that. Now, look at this. We're back to 2020, and the hips are square. Square hips lead to more offensive possibilities like the backhand and the back leg. Being able to back up and counter is always a plus. Plus, I get to use my karate stuff. Now, to go along with that karate stuff, I also added a little bit more to my arsenal. And that has to do with the front leg. Watch this, real slow. Bang. Oh, beautiful. I learned that when it comes to people who throw hard leg kicks, like Bobby does, he's a strong individual, you've got to learn to do one of two things. Either eat it and stay on the ground and reply. As you can see there, I stayed in the same space, or stuff it. So when I say stuff, I mean meet the kick before it can reach its full potential. Here's a great example of the difference. Here I eat this one. I only went back as far as I needed to, and now I'm going to reach forwards and stuff that teep. I'll eat this next one and reply with my own attack. Throughout this process, I learned that my definite advantage was my karate kicks and mobility with this sideways stance. So why not use it? Watch this again. I know it may not seem like much, But being able to root myself in the same place, put my hip in front of my back foot, and use my karate skills to thwart the main thing they have against me was a huge benefit of sparring with these Muay Thai guys. But it's time to talk about the big boss, Mr. Josh Brackett. Josh and I have very contradictory styles. He's incredibly good at kicking legs, staying sturdy, replying to what you have to offer. But inside, I'm much better at hanging out on the outside, coming in, taking my shots, and getting back out before you can apply your damage. The style of taking someone's roots out from underneath them wasn't something that I was particularly used to. I was much more used to being the wind that knocked the leaves off the tree. So obviously this is something that felt very foreign to me. As you can see, I'm very out of my element. While I had some good points in the sparring match, it's something that I really needed, because learning about what makes you kinda suck a little bit is what usually gets you to the point that takes you to the next step. Now, back to learning corner. So, we talked about different things that I could do to hang out in the pocket and get my counters in. Here's the first one. Eat it, parry it. Interestingly enough, one of the things that I learned from him, whether or not he knows it, is that your legs can be much more like your arms than you would think. Being able to parry, move around, and show techniques that are feints is incredibly useful. Having all four limbs that can act as each other makes for some cool combos too. But the main thing I think I've learned from Josh has been distance management. Now, distance management can mean being just at the end of your kick. It can mean stuffing the person and hanging out in a closer range than their optimal power zone. Or it can mean making them back up to put them at the perfect place for a sweep. I'm not so good at that one yet. But one of the things that you're not going to see here so much in this round at least is the immense amount he's helped me with my clinch game. While you might not have seen it, that confidence in the clinch allows me to get closer without having to worry about the repercussions of what happens if this guy grabs me. A lot of people think that the confidence in striking comes from being able to hit someone when you want, but in all actuality the confidence in striking comes from not worrying about if you miss. Now, my style of karate that my dad taught me was very kicking based, so I got a chance to get really good at the lead leg kicks, especially keeping range and distance. But what Muay Thai did a great job of teaching me was how to square up these hips and throw, how to knock somebody off balance, how to sweep somebody off their feet, and most importantly, how to kick somebody right in the leg muscle. While I've talked about how karate is great at making you unpredictable in your striking and your defenses, doing something different also adds to your unpredictableness. Another amazing thing that Muay Thai taught me was how to attack the legs, but not only attack the legs in a way that is to damage them, but also in a way that can halt them, which can stop them from moving forwards, or even stop them from kicking. Now, with that being said, being able to smoke some leg kicks really does help slow somebody down and keep them at range, and also keep them second guessing about if they even want to be close enough to punch you in the first place. Which brings me to my next point. Combining Muay Thai with my karate was like combining the thunder with my lightning, and giving it a little pop to each different thing that I did. So while I was really good at getting in and going tag and then coming out, what Muay Thai did for me in my striking was help me get to a point where every single thing that I wanted to touch or land could be consequential for my partner. Lastly, helping my hips square up a little bit and keeping me from getting too long all the time was great. Being able to strike with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different targets is a huge difference than being able to stay long and attack with 2. Being able to combine those two things, karate and Muay Thai, now has given me ability to switch back and forth. Being able to be defensive or offensive, defensive or offensive with blitzes. Overall, adding more things to your arsenal will always be an incredible path to take. So if you are a Muay Thai practitioner, I highly recommend you get into karate to learn how to break patterns, how to get in and out faster. If you're a karate practitioner, I'd recommend you take Muay Thai for a while and learn how to be sturdy, grounded, rooted, and throw more elbows and knees and combos. And if you're anyone who takes martial arts, I recommend that you subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this. I put a lot of work into this. If you hit the like button, it means a lot to me. If you share it with your friends, it means that I won't hunt down your closest relative. So that's always cool, right? Just kidding, I wouldn't do that. Subscribe or I'll kick you. Bow!